Hey everyone, 10 Outdoors 9. I'm trying to talk over without yelling these cicadas that are already cranking up in the trees in the background. I've combined in this video 3 9mm plus P ammo tests. Been a little bit quiet with uploads the past 3 or 4 months, but I have been trying to do some things in the background. Each of these tests will be condensed for the time allotment. I'm trying to respect your time, but also give you the same level of information that I have included in previous ammo tests. So we have a lot of things to cover. Let's get started. First, some housekeeping items. These plus P tests are with the Glock 19 Gen 4 4-inch barrel. Velocities are checked with the Pro Chrono digital chronograph at a distance of 10 feet. I'll be shooting a 50-pound block of sim test calibrated to be comparable with 10% ordnance gel. The first test is with the Winchester PDX1 Defender 124 grain bonded jacketed hollow point. Advertised velocity is 1200 feet per second, approaching 400 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Here are my 5 measured shots with the Glock 19. And now the average coming in at 1,181 feet per second. That is within 2% of the advertised velocity. Let's check out some day and also night shots. I don't have a problem with this upper center mass accuracy. Good location again in low light. Next up is the shot on the block. Expansion begins about 1 inch in, with the largest section of the permanent cavity running from that point to around the 6-inch mark, which is typical for this weight and velocity. Width of the channel at its peak is just under 1 inch. Going past the initial section of the permanent cavity, following the channel out to 10, 11, 12, and stopping just under 13 inches. The leading edge is coming in at 12 and 5/8 inches. High end of the expanded pedal is 0.633 inches, but the average is slightly lower at 0.629 inches. Even after giving this a warm water rinse, retained weight is coming in just a bit over 100%. To me, the expanded PDX1 in any caliber closely resembles its cousin, the Winchester Ranger. However, the expanded pedals aren't as sharp around the edges. I like the PDX1 because it is bonded and shares several characteristics with the Ranger brand, and it's much easier to locate. Recoil is mild for a plus P load, and you saw the accuracy potential. Velocities are good, as is expansion, but I would prefer a few more inches of penetration. Next up is the Hornady Tab 124 grain JHP. Advertised velocity is 1,180 feet per second, and it is a mild shooter. Doesn't feel like plus P. Here are the 5 measured shots. None of these reach the advertised velocity, with the average at 1,162 feet per second. I've seen standard pressure loads with an advertised velocity not much lower than this. Day shots are next, followed by some night shots to check muzzle flash. We are viewing the entry point and largest section by volume of the permanent cavity. This is approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter and runs out to the 8-inch mark. Pretty good cavitation for this velocity and bullet weight. After depositing the majority of its energy, it settles down and continues on past the 12-inch mark, approaching 16 inches. The leading edge comes in at 15 3/4 inches. Some might think that's too much penetration, but I'm fine with it. Maximum end of the expanded pedals is 0.523 inches, and the average just below that at 0.518 inches. Retained weight is just below 124 grains, so we lost a fragment somewhere in the cavitation. Hornady's bullets are usually designed for controlled expansion, and compared to other brands, typically give you much less expansion. In fact, this expansion was only 45% above the original diameter. If manufacturers are going to offer plus P loads and their advertised velocities below the typical 1200 feet per second threshold. I wish the velocities would be on spec. Nonetheless, I'm very pleased with the penetration, and I accept that the minimal expansion pattern is simply what you get with many Hornady handgun products. Finally, we have the Remington Golden Saber Bonded 124 grain brass jacketed hollow point. Advertised velocity is at that magical 1200 feet per second that I referenced a moment ago. My 5 shots are somewhat below advertised, although the recoil was noticeably more than the TAP ammo that we just tested. Average velocity is 1,170 feet per second, just under 380 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. I'm seeing really good cavitation within the first 5 to 6 inches. Diameter is in the 3/4 to 1 inch range, and there's quite a bit of tearing going on, so I'm expecting some moderate expansion. After the 7-inch mark, we drop down to a more narrow channel, and now moving out past the FBI 12-inch minimum and getting in the ballpark of 14 inches. Taking a closer look, penetration is 13 and 5/8 inches. At a glance, I don't see any evidence of jacket core separation that is quite prevalent with the non-bonded Golden Saber. High end of the expanded petals is .602 inches and the average is .582 inches. Retained weight is a grain off the original weight, so I'll probably find some fragments in the melted gel. I expected more expansion given what I noted in the initial cavitation, but that could have been a benefit of the Golden Saber design. One very key benefit, again, is that this bullet holds together much better than its 124 grain non-bonded sibling, and here is a side-by-side example. The Golden Saber usually isn't mentioned at the top of the conversation along with Gold Dots, HSTs, or even the older HydroShock. I've always viewed it as a Me Too brand, and some could disagree. Since the bonded version offers more stability, I might suggest that Remington simply discontinue the non-bonded version and try to give this product more prominence. I hope you got the information that you needed from this condensed format. These tests are just representations, just a slice, a fraction of all the data that's out there for evaluating carry ammo. The next video, the one following this, same structure, same format, 9mm, but 4 standard pressure tests. Thanks for watching.